stop worrying about the small things, realizing that nobody cares about you, but more in an entrepreneurial way. Like I think so many people are scared of what other people think. And they don't realize that other people are worrying about their own dang lives. You know what I mean? No one cares. Even like social media, like, nowadays we know social media is how you market your brand. You want to start a business? It don't matter what business it is. You better be on social media promoting your business. And there's a lot of my friends, I just don't know what to post, or I don't know about this, or I don't know. I'm like, but you can tell there's someone in their mind that's in their head where they don't want to post because someone's going to see it. Whether it's a family member or a friend, or it might even be someone, a high school bully or something that follows you. That putting those blinders on and stop caring what people think and just go. My business partner always says, "Is this going to affect me a year from now? If this isn't going to affect me from a year from now, it's not important."
What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Journey to Solutions podcast, where we interview people from all walks of life who've overcome the impossible. We shine light on one simple truth: no matter your past, no matter your pain, with the power of God, anything is possible. And today we got a very special guest. He is the owner of Sullen. Is there any other companies that you own besides Sullen?
No.
So, okay, just Sullen. He's somebody that I know personally, and I find it funny because he's not in recovery, but yet he's surrounded by everybody in recovery. And usually you don't see that all the time because people like us in recovery can be a lot. But he's somebody that I've seen him show love, give opportunities to those. And it's amazing because a lot of times people in recovery struggle to find work because we have felonies, because we have charges, because of the way we look. And sometimes that can make us feel defeated. And this gentleman right here gives opportunities to those people. And I've seen those people's lives change. Those people get married. Those people find love and just do things they love. And so I want to introduce Jeremy Hanna.
Yeah.
Hanna, I got it right.
Yeah, everyone wants to say Hanna.
Hanna, right? So I got it right. Sweet. Yeah. So let's talk about that. I find it so fascinating that you're surrounded by so many people in recovery.
You know what? Thank you for noticing that.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't get brought up like that very often, but that's nice of you to say it like that.
Mm-hmm. What is it about people in recovery that you feel drawn to?
I don't know. I think maybe my upbringing, my family, having addicts in my family.
Oh, so you do have addicts in your family. Okay.
I have some addicts in my family. I also have some what do you call it, institutionalized, some family members that can't seem to stay out of prison,
Yeah.
And I got love for them. They're good people in their own way. They just can't stop making those bad decisions and end up back in prison. I don't know. I think I like. It's kind of hard to explain, like, look at me. I'm all tattooed, like kind of like.
You look like you would be in recovery.
That's what I'm saying. Black on black on black with tattoos. Like kind of a bad boy look. But I don't want to be a bad boy. I want to be a good human.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like my circle looks like me.
Yeah.
But there's people that are tattooed like us, and they're sweethearts. They're teddy bears.
Yeah.
And that's how it is. I think I'm just drawn to certain people and certain personalities, and even my wife. My wife is she'll get mad at me for saying this, but she's bipolar. And she's a pain in my ass sometimes, but I love her to death. She's the girl of my dreams. But I was telling her this week, and I was like, I was just sitting there thinking, laying in bed thinking, I'm like, maybe you're the perfect girl for me. Because I've always been attracted to, and not just like physically, sexually, but I've always been drawn to like kind of loud, crazy personalities.
That's bipolar.
Yeah,
you got it.
Loud,
too.
crazy personalities. Because I talk for a living, like literally, I talk all day, every day to people from all over the world. And I think sometimes when I'm like hanging out like leisurely with friends, I like to not talk so much, and I like to have these loud personalities around me who can sort of take the floor, and I get entertained by them. I don't know, maybe something like that.
It's fascinating you say that too, because I find that I'm like that too. I can talk on stage, talk to people all day. Sometimes I like those people that just talk the whole time.
Yeah.
Just observe them. Like, you guys do all the talking, you're talking to each other. I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to look around. like that?
Well, my wife, I'm getting older now. I'm in my, creeping up on 50. And my wife, she's like, as you're getting older, you're becoming a little bit more introvert. And I go, I don't know if I'm becoming an introvert. I kind of talk and make friends for a living. But I have noticed that some of the things that I like doing when I'm at home, I like going on bike rides. There are things that I like doing where I can be in silent. But I assume that's just kind of like recharging, right?
Yeah. Do you find yourself getting more charged being around people or being alone naturally?
I think both. I think I definitely, I get excited. I like being creative. It's like me. With my brand, it's there's a ton of creativity involved, and now, of course, with social media storytelling, it's like every day we're trying to come up with different ideas to tell our story. So I like getting in a room full of other like-minded individuals, and coming up with ideas and talking things, or not just work, things that I'm passionate about in life and family and friends. I think I definitely get energized by people, but then I think I just need my time to recoup.
No, I love that. Yeah, like I said, like I observe you because I remember when we first met, 2010, my buddy had that thing. He was trying to start ink maps. Yeah. And I remember we did an interview with you. So the interview's actually still on YouTube, which is funny. Yeah. You know what I mean? And you looked completely different, right? You're completely skinnier there. And then I remember I think one of my friends was doing stuff with you. And he's like, oh, yeah, Uncle Jeremy from Sullen. I was like, I wonder if that's the same guy. And I saw you, I was like, dude, that guy got jacked. Run me through that. Like, what was like the purpose behind you, taking your health this seriously, wanted, all that stuff? Because when I met you till now, complete transformation.
I think running a business had a lot to do with it.
What does that mean? If someone's like, what does he mean by that?
I think, it could go a lot of different routes. I think that working out and building muscle is good for your mental. I think it's good for your brain. I think it's good for being sharp. I don't know if that's what I was thinking when I started doing it. I think I just wanted to look good, because I've always ran skinny, but then, you start getting skinny fat,
Yeah, that doesn't look good, yeah.
Yeah, so I got in. I've always slightly worked out, but like once or twice a week, and that don't do much. I got into it in my 20s once, and I got some size. So I knew there was some potential. And then it was my late 30s, I got into it again. My business partner, Ryan, we had a gym in our office, and he brought on a Muay Thai coach. He's like, dude, let's start doing this. And I started working out. And it was great. This guy was kicking our butt. And but you might lose some of the belly fat and maintain. But I would joke with him and say, hey, Thomas, when are you going to make me look sexy? And he would always say the same joke. I can't perform miracles. And it wasn't until I started lifting weights where you start seeing results. But since I did run so skinny, I had to hit it really, really hard for years. So I think I started lifting heavy weights like 39, and it took me about 5 years to put on some size. I'd bring my old high school friends in. I think one of the good secrets is having a workout partner, having somebody to push you. Because I notice, I can get a good workout in by myself, but I notice when I'm with somebody, you always just kind of compete a little bit more.
Push a little bit harder, yeah.
Do those extra few reps, you do that last burnout with your friend or whatever. And so I would always have my friends coming in working out, and then my workout partners would change. But yeah, why did I get into it? I think first of all, just to look good, but then I started realizing the stresses that running a business brings. And I know that stress is a killer. Yeah. And one of my biggest things is, I don't know, like for some reason, I've always felt like I was going to die early, and I don't want to, so I'm trying to do all those things that make me live long, I don't need to live to be 100, but I don't want to die in my 60s or 70s.
And you don't want to be that person. I'd always see those people, that are crossing the street and they look like a hunchback. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like that can happen. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, people don't take care of their health, whatever it is, and like that happens. I'm like, I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be that person that where you're like in your 40s and 50s and you can't move.
I went to my 30-year high school reunion last year, and sure, there's tons of people that look great. They're taking great care of themselves. So there's other people you're like, do I look that old? Like,
yeah. Some
people, unfortunately, they don't take care of themselves, and it makes them age a lot quicker, and you don't see a lot of old, heavy people alive, So yeah, I'm just. And like I said, I think, running a business, man, the stress, I think stress is a killer. I think stress will kill you. So I'm always, and I've always been a little bit of a stress case, like I'm definitely a glass is half full kind of guy. I'm an optimistic kind of person, but I do still stress, you know. I eternalize it, you know, and I'll throw on a smile to you, even though I'm stressing about 20 things in my mind, and I know that can be bad for you as well. So,
do you feel like it's because you overcommit to things, and you kind of take on too much, and you're like, crap, I took on a lot? Like, do you feel like you're always trying to be there for everybody and everything?
Yeah, but at the same time, all the CEOs that, you know, we all look up to, like, we know they take on too many things. Like, you kind of can't succeed unless
you do that. Yeah, it's kind of like I like when people say, if you really want to be that successful, you got to have some delusional faith, because sometimes that delusional faith will make you go do those crazy things to get there, and it works.
I also heard someone say recently, like, if you want the big success, you have to write down what things you're gonna lose.
Oh, wow.
You know, or what's the word I'm looking for?
Give up, or
kind
of sacrifice.
Sacrifice. That's what I was looking for. What are you gonna sacrifice to get what you really want?
So let me ask you that. What do you feel like you had to sacrifice? If you were to do that right now to maintain what you have and have what you have, what were some things that you had to sacrifice?
I mean, it was definitely spending time with my family. You know, I feel fortunate in the fact that I was working till 10 p.m. every night when my kids were babies, so they don't remember it quite so much. But I still, you know, there was a lot of times I felt like bad dad, you know, building the business, working till late night hours. I would make up for it. You know, I wasn't a bad dad. I was hands-on, vacations, Disneyland, you know, like I had no problem. That's one of the great things about owning a business. If I got to take the day off, take my kids to the doctor, I'd do it. But yeah, I definitely was a workaholic when my kids were babies. So, you know, they don't see that. They're 18 and 20 now. So I think, you know, I think COVID was definitely like a little bit of a restart, you know, when we were all stuck at home. And then I was just kind of like, this is good. I want to be at home more often. So I've slowed down on traveling, and of course you get way better at saying no as you get older. That's a big thing.
That's huge. No, I love that. Yeah, I think a lot of times people want a certain success or lifestyle or thing, but sometimes they don't really acknowledge or understand what the cost of that's going to be.
Yeah.
You know, time, energy, or sometimes people think, to me, I think balance is an illusion. It's always trying to figure out that balance because it's always shifting and changing. Sometimes the balance is I have more date nights. Sometimes it's not going to be more date nights. You know, sometimes it's more me time. And sometimes I want to just travel more. Like whatever I need, I try to kind of like juggle it.
Yeah.
Always in balance and stuff like that. What are like stressors that, like, let's say people are like, they want to start a business, they're in that. Like, what are some stressors that you deal with on a day-to-day basis? Why, like you said, why it's so important for you to take care of yourself and have this routine or ritual for you to maintain your mind so you can deal with these things?
Yeah, putting out fires. You know, I half jokingly say I'm a firefighter. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a matter of if or when. Like, there's going to be things that pop up that you have to deal with on that spot. You know, so it's like you want to have your game face on. You know what I mean? Like, there's times where me and my wife, you know, might get in an argument before I go to work. And that affects me so much, you know, like I'm going to work, like thinking about this argument, and it ruins my day, you know? So it's like, I tell him, like, baby, please, like, and I've gotten better at it, you know, like if I leave for work upset, I'll find certain YouTube videos to put on just to kind of get my head in the right spot. You know, almost like motivational videos, like, you know, you got this, you know what I mean? Because this life we live ain't easy, you know? So it's like, you know, there's going to be problems that pop up, whether it's business or personal, family, you know, or just all the different personalities, you know what I mean? Like, I got a really good team, but it's a lot of different personalities. And any given day, someone's going to walk in, hey, Jeremy, can I talk to you? It's like, oh boy, what's this? You know, so-and-so said this, or so-and-so, you know, there's always these beefs within the family, you know, and within the workplace and all that stuff. There's always going to be something, you know? So it's like, I want to be prepared to handle that accordingly. And move to the next without sitting there stressing and dwelling on it.
And like, what's the approach that you find that works best for you when it comes to putting out those fires? Because I see the way that you are, like I said, visually, your personality doesn't match it. If you see him from afar, you're like, oh, this guy's straight gangster thug. You're gonna see he's probably gonna be a hard ass, you know, not talkative, whatever. And then you talk to you, and I'm like, he's the complete opposite of what I thought. So like for you, like because I see how much love that you show to anyone that walks into your building. What is that approach that you kind of find that works when it comes to having to have those hard talks with your team?
I mean, I don't know. I think honesty is the best. You know, I think trying to be as transparent as possible. I think I'm guilty of sometimes I'm guilty of opening up too much or talking too much to my employees. You know, sometimes I think I could do a better job at like being a little bit more private, but I don't know, maybe it does work. Maybe I do have the relationship I have because I am transparent. You know, they know the things that I'm going through in life. They know the hardships that I have or have had, and we're friends. You know what I mean? Like they know I'm their boss, but they also know that they can talk to me. You know, I think I got that from my mom. I think that people feel comfortable talking to me about stuff, so I get a lot of people opening up.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I see that as a blessing, you know. And then I'll sit there and it's like, okay, this person's opening up. They need an ear, so I'll sit there and I'll look them in the eyes and I'll give them that, you know. And if they're looking for advice, I'll give it. But I definitely want to be there for my people, you know. And not only that, but like my brand, you know, I own a clothing company. It's a clothing brand, and I think a lot of brands out there, they long for, you know, they wish they had a family vibe, and we do. We have a worldwide family vibe where people are looking out for each other literally all over the world, and it's such a good feeling, you know, and still day to day in the office, you know, like I have had some of my employees go through some really hard stuff, and I'm one of the first ones that's there for them and helping them and getting on the phone with them, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's a family vibe.
And what do you think for you, kind of like, how do you think that started to kind of create that family vibe environment for Sullen? And just in case people are like, well, why don't we have that? Or how do we like curate that? Like, what do you guys do? And do you feel like that caused that ripple effect for that to be the...
I don't know, man. I think it kind of goes back to the way I was raised again. You know, like my business partner, he's a wizard, dude. Like he's really good at what he does. He's a great businessman, an incredible artist, a very wise man who's always looking to learn more. But he's not the social butterfly,
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think we're a good
balance,
you know, whereas he is who he is, and I love making friends. I like having fun. I like laughing. I like joy. I mean, sure, I want success, but that's more so I don't have to stress, you know, like I want to be, I mean, I wish I could take more days off. My wife laughs. She's like, "Oh, you wouldn't want to retire. You'd lose your mind." Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah. But I love my weekends. I travel on the weekends. So when I have a weekend off and I'm at home, you know, like doing whatever I want, I love that, you know, because there's not a ton of them, you know. So when I have a weekend, I'm like, yes. Yeah. You know, like, let's freaking chill. Yeah. You know, but no, I think it goes back to what we were talking about, you know, like, me coming up the way I was, having some uncles that were bad, and an amazing mom and a hardworking dad, and being raised, you know, Christian and in church, and just caring for, you know, for our brothers and sisters. I think it all just kind of comes together, and it's worked. Yeah,
it's almost like you got to experience Jesus' love through the way, like through your mom and how she loves on people, a reflection of how Jesus would love people. And it becomes your natural way of just being. And then you see that ripple effect as a leader in your company, right? And then that kind of just trickles down. And you love people where they're at, and then it kind of teaches them to love other people where they're at. And I think that's the right way to do things, you know, because then people feel, like you said, people feel safe around you because you're the one expressing vulnerability and honesty, and you're just easy to talk to, which allows people to come to you to open up. And I think that's the best type of work environment, that family. Some people say, you know, it could be bad. I get it. Some people could take advantage of it. I get it, right? Or like, you know, think they could get away with things. I get it. But, you know, anything could be like that. The gym could say it's bad just because of one asshole in there. But it doesn't mean the gym is bad. Let's stop arguing that. Yeah. I think that family environment is incredible and the way to go. And it's cool that you said that. So let's talk about that too. So, you know, you talk about God. You grew up Christian. Was that something that you kind of leaned away from as you got older, leaned back into it, or has it always been kind of something in the center of your life?
It's always been there, for sure. Yes, I've came in and out, and I always say I feel guilty that I lean on God so much during the dark times, because I know He's always there, you know. But even though I'm a normie, I did used to party a lot. You know, like I built my clothing brand off of having a lot of parties. Okay. And it wasn't just always bar events, you know, where people are partying, but we always had a big gathering. We always had a really big crew that supported everything that we do,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But of course, when I had kids, and then I get married, like I want my kids to be raised, in church, and that's a whole other topic, because I get scared for one of my kids. I want to make sure that they're a follower, and sometimes you wonder if like they're doubting it and stuff like that, which is a whole other conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But
do you see him like going like a more unhealthy path, or is it more just him not leaning on God?
like maybe questioning if there is a God.
Yeah.
It's a lot of times I want to blame social media for it. I don't want to just take the easy route,
Mm-hmm.
But I almost feel like I think it's cool. I feel like 5 years ago, like being anti-God was trending. Like you saw so many 666 Instagram handles.
Mm-hmm.
And now I feel like it's going the other way a little bit. Like I feel like there's a lot of youngsters that are turning to God. I feel like I'm seeing a lot of tattooers. I work in the tattoo world, and I'm seeing a lot of tattooers, give their life to Christ. And I'm just like, yes, you know what I mean? So you slowly see it. And, most of my friends and followers know that I'm a believer. But I'm definitely not like, I'm not on there preaching.
Yeah, you're at the Bible thumper.
I'm definitely not a Bible thumper like that. I'm not sitting there. But at the same time, people, they see my tattoos, they see my posts, they see my hashtags, like they know. But I'm not like cramming it down their throat.
Mm-hmm. And where did you learn that? Because I think sometimes people, they find God, they believe in God, but yet they believe they have this authority. Like I got to go let people know. Like I got to correct them. I got to tell them what they're doing is wrong. And they always kind of bring it into every conversation, no matter what. They can say, "What do you want to eat? What do you think Jesus would eat?" It's like, you get those people. For you, how did you kind of learn to kind of like just not be that version of it?
Well, I mean, I'm guilty of not knowing my Bible as well as I should. I definitely would like to read my Bible more. I'm in church, and I've been raised in church. But I've also seen people get turned off if you overdo it. Like I have aunts and uncles that have said certain things. Like I've had conversations with certain people where I'm like, don't say that. That's going to turn people away from Christianity. And I'm a marketing guy. Maybe that has something to do with it. You know what I mean? I'm a marketing guy, so I'm thinking what works to convince people to follow Christ. And then some people do these things like, no, don't do that. Don't say that. Like, don't judge. Like, don't judge someone because he's been to prison or used to be an addict or has tattoos. Like, don't do that. Like I had a conversation recently, and this might get some comments, but they were talking about how meditation and yoga
Oh, I think I know what you're going to say.
are like satanic.
Yeah. It's so funny you said that because I remember when I first got saved, when I got sober, I was open to anything. So these older gentlemen at a church, hey, come to our Bible study. So I'm like, okay. And I remember I get there, I'm all excited with my book, and I hear the two older men fall asleep. We got a story for you. I'm like, what happened, bro? So I was driving by at Anaheim Hills, and I saw these people doing yoga, demonic. And I'm like, I do yoga. In my head, I'm like, oh, crap, am I doing something wrong?
Yeah.
So, said that. So someone said that.
And these are two close people to me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, like, I meditate, but I pray while I'm meditating, like, I'm not, they're breathing exercises, and I don't do yoga, and I know there's different chapters of yoga.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. I don't care about that.
Right.
If I'm doing it because I want to stretch my muscles.
Exactly. That's what we're doing. Yeah, I want to stretch. I'm tight.
I'm stretching, and I'm closing my eyes and doing breathing exercises, talking to God as I'm also doing these meditation practices, which is letting go of, like the way I was taught to meditate, like thoughts come to your mind and they kind of float away, and you're thinking you drift off, and then you pull it back in to your your safe place, and then you let your mind drift, and then you pull it back in, and this helps relax you and stress. But the first thing I was saying is like, dude, don't say meditation and yoga are satanic. All you're doing is scaring people away from Christianity, because that makes you sound like some of the crazy Christians. You can word it differently, and you might even be right at the end of the day.
Right. But
just don't say it like that. You know what I mean? So, I think that's it. Like sometimes, like I always, even when I'm in church, there's sometimes where, the message that day, I always wonder, like, what if this is somebody's first time in church ever? you know, and I think of that stuff, you know. So sometimes, like, because I want to bring someone to church for their first time. And if it's their first experience, I want them leaving there like, dude, that was awesome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't want them to feel uncomfortable for any sort of way.
Right.
So sometimes, you know, and once again, I don't want to get dissed on for this, but like when they'll be like, everyone raise your hands. Well, this person's new to church. They're going to feel uncomfortable raising their hands to someone they don't know if they believe in yet. You know, so I'm like, I'm thinking in my marketing mind, you shouldn't tell everyone to raise their hands because there's new people here that don't feel comfortable doing it. You know what I mean?
Well, I think Jesus was the best marketer. He knew exactly how to reach people. So I think for you, I think that's a gift that you have. It's not like, I think that to me, that's the right approach, right? It says be all things to all people in the Bible, which means what? If you're Buddhist, then I'm going to talk about Buddhism with you and learn about it. So you feel comfortable. If you like energy, let's talk about energy. You know what I mean? It's like, well, whatever it is. Another thing it says too in the Bible, which is powerful, is there's a part, and I think it's in Acts or in Peter, and it says like, why are you speaking tongue to people? They don't know what you're saying, so you're just wasting time. I don't care how holy you are, you think you are. Speaking in a language that people don't understand does nothing. And so I look at that as like, right, okay, I'm going to meet them where they're at. You talk street talk, I'll talk street talk with you. You like this talk, I'll do that, instead of, like you said, coming at it so one way. Because you're right, sometimes that is someone's first time there.
Speaking in tongues will scare someone their first time.
Imagine, hey, can I pray for you? You're like, okay. Well, they're going to be like, I got to get out of here.
Yeah, it happened to me.
Oh,
it
really?
happened to me. Like, I was raised in a church where they spoke tongues.
Yeah.
You know, I remember at my grandma's funeral, my aunt spoke in tongues right next to me, and I'll never forget the feeling. And it was amazing. I was sitting right next to her, and I would never forget the feeling that took over my body. And there's certain feelings like that where you know God is real. But then there was another time when I was a kid, I brought a high school friend to church with me, and they were speaking in tongues, and it freaked him out.
Yeah.
And I understand why. You know, they're like, what in the world's going on?
Right.
You know, I remember I was going through hard times with a family member in recovery, and I asked the prayer tent to pray for me. I was just really going through it, and she instantly started speaking in tongues, and I don't know, like I felt off about it. It didn't make me feel the way my aunt did. Like I felt like she wasn't listening to what I was saying, and then I think she asked me if I do it, and I'm like no, and she started doing it, you know. But same thing. Like I know the people that go to those prayer tents are usually not. They might be beginner Christians. Yeah. Like I felt like a kind of a beginner Christian walking over there. I just needed someone to pray for me. But I kind of walked away like, man, if I was new to church and I asked you to pray for me and you instantly start speaking in tongues, I probably would have never came back.
Yeah. And that's the reality, because, you know, most people have church hurt as it is, or they have a perception of, you know, religious people are crazy, they're controlling, whatever it is. And so you're right. It's like first impression is everything for that. Yeah. And so when that happens, it's kind of like you just ruin that person's opportunity to experience God. Yeah. Because you made it about you. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you know, I don't think that's the route Jesus would have went. You know what I mean? Jesus seemed super cool. You know, like he was winning people over.
Have you seen the show The Chosen?
No, I've heard good things.
So I highly recommend it, because it's just like for the visual aspects, right? It's cool because the way they portray Jesus in it, you just see him like when he's with kids, he's like goofing with little kids, playing with them, you know, like a little kid. And then when he's with his disciples and they're like, I'm so sorry, I messed up. He's just like, hey, it's all good. He gives him a hug. He's like, wow, is he like that when I mess up? You know what I mean? Or he's like laughing and joking. Or why didn't you bring this up if you knew about this? Yeah. It's okay. You know what I mean? Like, hey, hey, like
that's so cool.
And I'm like, man, if that's the personality, like, okay, that's cool, because that's how I am with people. That's how I want to be with people.
Yeah, me too.
You know, people already know what they're doing wrong. I don't need to point it out. Yeah. Let me point out what you're doing right. Yeah. And usually that person now goes, I want to hang out with you. Why? Because you're just, I feel good around you. You don't judge me. You don't shame me. And that usually changes that person to be like, well, so what do you believe in? I'll go, I believe in God. Right. Really? Wow, that's why I love you like this. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. I thought godly people were like this.
Yeah, be the shining light.
Yeah.
Be happy, smile. Yeah, I got WWJD tattooed on my finger as a reminder. What would Jesus do?
That's cool.
You know, I wish I looked at it more often, because I'm still making bad decisions and losing my temper. Yeah. That's my biggest fault. I wish I could. My temper is what I like the least about myself.
What do you feel like fuels it, and where does it stem from?
I think I got a lot of good role models in my life, but I think there's some bad role models in my life too. I think growing up. You know, my mom and dad had 6 brothers and sisters on both sides, so I had
big
lots
family.
of aunts and uncles.
Yeah.
And they grew up in Carson, a rough neighborhood in Los Angeles.
Carson, yeah.
And so yeah, they've got a lot of stories, you know, and they were kind of, you know, ex-gangbangers, some of them, and you know, in and out of trouble, and so yeah, some of them were bullies and had tempers and were very alpha, you know. So I had these uncles that I looked up to, and they started getting tattoos. A couple of them in and out of prison. One of them can't stay out of prison. And even my father, you know, my father is an amazing man, an amazing Christian, and a great role model. But he definitely had a temper. You know, I watched him lose his temper, and when he lost it, it got bad. You know, so I think that has an effect on me.
What do you think it does for you? Like, if you're like dive deep into, like, when I get angry and have a temper and lash out, what do you think it's doing? Is it like supposed to protect you? Do you feel like you have to prove a point? Do you feel like it's the only way to communicate?
I think the second part, proving a point, kind of, it's a little bit of an alpha thing, like reminding them, you know, reminding them that, hey, I'm a nice guy, but don't cross me, or I'll make you regret it. And I don't like that about myself.
Because what's so bad about someone crossing you? What does that mean? Does it make you feel like, does it say like that you're not a man, that you're being humiliated, that like what is the message that you take?
Yeah, I think I lose my temper, lose my cool, letting them know, don't ever get me to this spot again. Don't do that or say that again and get me to this spot again, or else, which I shouldn't. You know, like, Jesus wouldn't have done that. Yeah. You know, I'm trying to be like that calm, cool, collected, you know, guy who can just sit there and breathe. Yeah. And smile through everything and be grateful, you know, because I have so much to be grateful for, you know. But yeah, I definitely got a temper.
It's like that. What's that book called? I think is Art of War. No, not Art of War. I can't remember what book it is where they talk about like what a samurai, what a samurai warrior really is. It's like someone could be there at their face screaming at them, and they just stay calm. Yeah. And just calm and just calm, right? Like to be able to have.
But then there's also the Jordan Peterson line. What is it? It's better to be
a monster in you or something. Is that
no,
one?
it's better to be a warrior in a garden rather than a gardener in a war. Yeah. You know, or like Mike Tyson says, like, you know, he's always trying to tuck that away. He's like, I don't like that side of me. He's like, when I'm in the ring, that's who comes out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. I have some fighter friends that are UFC fighters, and they're like, yeah, I don't even like fighting. Like, I hate it. Every time I hit somebody, I'm like, really? I'm like, why do you do it? And some of them were like, I think I did it because it was the only way I knew how to feel for someone to kind of validate me. It felt nice to be like, man, that's a good job.
That's interesting.
You know what I mean? So they're like, my whole UFC career was based on the attaboy. And then once I realized the attaboy doesn't last, like I didn't want to do it no more, and I hated it.
I think about that, man, sometimes, because sometimes when people fight, they have a history together. They were like used to train together. They used to be friends. And now you're getting in the ring with somebody who you might not hate. You know, are you sitting there spinning it like, I hate this person? Like, like do you have to get in that mental space?
That's what they told me. He says literally he has to be like, wait, this guy wants to kill me. He's not my friend. Yeah, he's probably planning bad stuff. Like, I got to tell myself that every day. I got to remember that, yeah, he's out to get me. He's probably trying to do something to me right now. Like, they have to kind of like develop a delusional mindset to go into it like that and protect that mindset at all costs. Like, if I get soft for a second, watch a TV show that's happy, I'm going to lose the fight.
Yeah, you got to get the right mindset.
Yeah.
I'd be watching YouTube videos. YouTube videos are my go-to, man. Like, YouTube videos save the day for me so many times, you know.
What do you kind of find yourself watching a lot? Is it more funny stuff? Is it more like...
Yeah. I mean, just like my music. I mean, it's kind of ages me, because I feel like the older I get, the less music I listen to and the more YouTube or podcasts I listen to. Yeah. Which, you know, music, I said this once to my wife, she got so mad at me, but I said, and I regretted saying it too, but I said something like, it was something to the degree of like music is for kids or something like that, you know, which is so lame because I'm such a music fan. Like, I'll beat anyone at Rock and Roll Jeopardy. Like, I love music. But as I've gotten older, I'm trying to, you know, grow my mind, my wisdom, you know, so I'm just always, whether it's, you know, books or podcasts or just different videos. But like music, I put something on as a goal to where I want my mind to go. You know, like for music, I'm either listening to music to chill out or I'm listening to music to pump myself up. Yeah. You know what I mean? Those are usually my go-to. So if I'm wanting to get pumped up, it's like gangster rap, metal, And if it's chilling out, dude, I'm like a big like lowrider oldies, classic rock, some folk music, like campfire music. Like I like that stuff that mellows you out, and you're like, yeah, life is good, But it's the same thing with podcasts or YouTube, Like if I'm having a bad day, like when, I've talked to you about it. I've went through a storm. I'm doing good now, but I went through like a 3-year rough period where I would find myself watching. I would type in motivational YouTube videos, but I would find myself on the movie ones, like famous movie lines,
like those lines.
Yeah, whether it was Rocky talking to his son, or Robin Williams, on Good Will
Good
Hunting.
Yeah, he's talking to Matt Damon. That
yeah,
part.
There's these lines that'll make you tear up.
Yeah,
and I don't know if it's because I remember watching that the feeling that it gave me, but there's certain movie parts where, it'll get me going again. I'll be like, you're right, just wipe that stuff away, Jeremy. You got this. Let's go conquer this day. So I pull up certain videos and I have them saved, for what I need, or even
love that.
Like for this podcast right here.
Yeah,
I was putting out some fires on the way here. There's some people blowing me up on some stuff and a little bit of drama. And I'm like, all right, guys, I'm about to hop on a podcast. And the 10 minutes before I pulled up, I put on Tony Robbins. Because I'm like, who's the most positive?
Right.
I'm like, let's listen to some Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
And I only got like 3 minutes in, but I was like, I need to, mellow out and appreciate this right here.
I love that. Yeah, I've been listening to recently the Coach Carter line. Remember that one when the kid stands up and he says, what do you fear? What does he say? Oh, yeah, what's your fear? And he goes,
that's
with Samuel Jackson?
It's a football movie, right?
Basketball.
Yeah, I haven't seen that movie.
There's that famous line how like we're not afraid of failure, we're afraid of the power that we have within us, like what we're capable of. It's like some cool, powerful line, and they have some music in it. Sometimes they have like music as their edits, and I remember sometimes I just listen to it, and I'm just like, oh man, like you're right, like I can do anything, and I'm gonna push it. So I love that you do that stuff.
Yeah, there's some good ones. They'll change your day.
Isn't it crazy?
And I tell people to do it. I'm like, dude, if you're, because we got friends about depression, like, here, watch this video. This helps me. Maybe it'll help you.
Isn't it crazy how like one line can change your life? You can hear one line from a speaker and you're just like mind blown. Yeah. Do you have one you can think of that you remember, like one thing you heard from a speaker? If you can, I'm sure there's many, but one thing that you learned or heard where you're just like, whoa, like that really changed my life.
Dude, I just heard one, and now getting put on the spot, I might not remember it. I just heard one this weekend. Darn it. Yeah. My brain's too frazzled right now, but yeah, I do have some lines that I go by. I can't recite it this very second, but I'll write them down too. I'll give myself little reminders on my desk. I know I got a couple Post-it notes on my desk, which are so old and cliche, but one's what is it? Strong sailors weren't made on smooth seas, or something like that. Yeah, I got that one on my desk.
Yeah, I think one for me that was like powerful was like the more you give, the more you receive. Yeah. And kind of just like really living like that and seeing how like it's so true. Because I like to break things down practically. Because people always ask me, like, what do you do for a living? Like, you get to travel the world. I just tell people I used to put meth up my ass and they pay me money. Because that's the truth. That's soft white underbelly. Like, that's just the reality, right? There's truth to that. I was at the White House, East Coast, same thing. I was like, I put meth up my ass. Ah, ha, ha, ha. People laugh. And I just say, yeah. I was like, dude, the secret is I just share my story and just give. Yeah. And then all of a sudden someone's like, hey, I want to work with you. Hey, we want you to do this. Hey, I heard about you. Would you want to do this and that? And it's like, oh, cool. Hey, you want to act in this? All right. And so for me, it was like, yeah, the more you give, the more you receive.
Dude, can you tell me about your White House visit? What was that all about? Because I didn't get to talk to you since then.
Yeah, so the East Coast thing was basically, so when Soft White Underbelly came out, my first episode, the Washington Health Department saw it. Someone that, like, I guess some of the ladies saw it. And so they Instagram me. And, I respond to everybody. So I go, oh, hey. And I'm like, I'm reading it. And, my brain thinking it's like some scam or whatever. So I go, oh, yeah, here's my number. Give me a call. And they call me. And I remember... they're like, you answered. I'm like, yeah, I told you to call me. She goes, oh my gosh, hold on. I need to call my team. They get the whole team on like a speaker.
No way.
And they go, yeah, would you want to be the recovery speaker of the year over here in DC? And,
wow.
For Recovery Month. I think a couple years before that, it was Brandon Novak. He did
Recovery Speaker of the Year?
Of the year. Yeah, so Recovery Month is September.
Okay, I didn't know that.
So in September, you'll see now, you'll probably see it, I think it was Recovery Month when you came out with that one event we had at the Magic House.
Okay.
Or it was at Fullerton, downtown Fullerton. Remember?
Fentanyl awareness.
Yeah, I think that was Recovery Month. So Recovery Month, they do these big things. So in DC, they hit me up, and they're like, "Hey, would you want to come out and be the speaker?" And I'm like, first I was like, "Oh yeah." I'm like, "Where's this at?" They're like, "Oh, it's like in DC, Maryland area." I was like, "Oh," I'm down. I'm like, I live in Orange County though. They go, "Oh no, like, we'll fly you out." I go, "Really?" Because you know me, I don't ask for money. So I was like, "Oh, okay, that's cool. I'll go." And then they were like, "Would you want to speak anywhere else?" And I'm like, "Sure." They're like, "How long would you want to stay out here?" I'm like, "How long do you need me there for?" They're like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah, doesn't everybody say that?" You know? And so basically I got to speak for Recovery Month out there. Stopped by the White House. We did Maryland, Virginia. I went to Brandon Novak's place in Delaware, Redemption. I did homeless shelters, churches, treatment centers, community events. And they donated this giant, like, 8 to 10 bedroom house for me to have with me and my girl. Wow. It was incredible.
How long were you there?
2 weeks.
2 weeks running
speaking
around,
every day.
speaking.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah, it was incredible.
That's cool of you.
Yeah.
And now, did you get to go inside the White House?
No, I didn't go so well. Just outside of it, around it, stuff like that. Yeah.
I love DC.
Yeah.
I want to go back. I went once a few years back, and I'm actually planning a trip to take my family. I got it for them for Christmas. We're going to go probably next month. I need to plan that now that I'm thinking about it. But isn't it a trip? You go to DC for the first time. Like, did you make your ways around DC?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like it's like our Rome. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You look at these things and you're like, oh my god.
The monuments, everything.
Even
the
the White House. You're like, dude, there's just this house in the middle of all these buildings. You know what I mean? Like it's just a house. When you're looking at it, it doesn't look that big. I'm sure it's way bigger inside. You know, but I'm like, dude, I'm right here. And then I walked around the other side, and there's like, you know, guys hiding behind trees and stuff. You know, you're looking for snipers on the roof. And I'm like, this is crazy. Like, I'm at the back door of the White House. That's a trip. I really enjoyed it, though.
And it's a trip, too, because if you walk a little bit outskirts, right, then it's all ghetto. Homeless and all that.
I never stumbled upon that because we did walk to Georgetown to see the steps.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
From The Exorcist. Someone wanted to go see that, but I've heard that there's some hoods around there, but I didn't see it.
Really, Brad.
Yeah. But it's not far?
Not far at all. So it's funny. So the first time I went to DC was Buddy Lee's an Olympic athlete. He's the #1 jump roper in the world. He created every jump rope thing you see any athlete do. Kickboxing, Muay Thai, anything they do, he created it. This guy is like 6 jumps a second on a jump rope.
Wow.
Think about that, how fast. So I manifested like, I want to be the best jump rope in the world. And I'm going to tell him his jump rope saved my life. What's his name? Buddy Lee. I got to jump rope every day. That's what I got to do. And he'll see me somehow. And then he's going to fly me out. A year later, he flew me out.
No way.
Yeah, I became #2 in the world for jump rope. And I went to DC the first time.
Dude, I did not know that about you.
Oh, yeah. I'm crazy. Like,
dude, when I was telling one of my guys right now I was going to be on a podcast with you, they're all the jump rope guys. Like, you look at him as the jump rope guy? I didn't know you were #2 in the world. That's rad.
It's a crazy thing. And so that's the first time I went to DC because he's out there. So I flew out there, and I don't know. So I'm like, I'm just gonna like walk around and get something to eat. And I talked to Buddy. He goes, dude, get back in your place. I go, what do you mean? He's like, dude, it's not safe. And I go, but it's DC. That's like the White House is. He goes, just that little area of all that. He's like, but outside of it, he's like, it's super unsafe.
Yeah, when I was there, because I remember we were walking around late at night. I remember we loved the Lincoln Memorial so much that we walked back to it at like at 11 p.m. at night. And I felt super safe. But once again, I was in the touristy area.
Yeah.
But we were walking around, and there's like, it almost looked like there was like some teenagers hanging out, so, a couple over here hanging out. Like, I didn't see any shady characters in that, what do they call it, the mile or whatever?
Yeah.
But yes, I've heard there's a lot of rough neighborhoods around there.
Yeah, but it's.
I don't need to see any of that. I just want to go back and show my kids. I want I know they won't, but I want them to feel what I felt, like just appreciate, like, dude, look at, we built this, like, and the history behind it, like, is it the Washington Monument was like halfway built for, I don't know, 150 years or something?
Yeah, my girl was telling me that. She's like, you know how long it took? I was like, what do you mean, like that? And I was like, interesting.
Yeah, it was built halfway for like a century or something. I don't know, I'm guessing, could be wrong. So I remember, I think it was a long time, but.
Do you find like traveling important? Because I know you travel a lot, like for yourself, like to like people should travel. I want my kids to see the world. Yes. What is it about traveling that you find that's like?
I think it's educational. I think I think traveling is the best education you can get. I think especially going to other countries and seeing the different, cultures and lifestyles and making you just think differently. Like, hey guy, your way isn't the only way. You know what I mean? Like, and respecting other cultures and other ethnicities and appreciating, all these different people from all around the world. Like, I love it. I love traveling. And now every year I surprise my kids. Well, it's becoming a thing. I've done it like 3 years in a row now, where every year I take them somewhere new. It's kind of like their Christmas present.
Because I know you did Europe recently, right?
Yeah, I took my kids. We were the Griswolds. We did 3 days in London, 3 days in Paris.
Yeah.
The year before that, we did Manhattan.
Nice.
And then this year we're doing DC.
Okay.
Yeah, they've done London. They've done Mexico, London, Paris. That's the only, I guess, internationally they've done. But I've been lucky enough. I've been to South America. I've been to Colombia. I've been to Asia. I've been to Taiwan a couple times. Eastern Europe, Romania.
About how many countries do you think you've been to, if you're just a guess?
I haven't been to Africa, but Australia, Asia, Europe, South America, I guess, all of them except Africa and Antarctica.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think traveling is the best. So I have vowed to travel less on unimportant trips and going on more trips with my family. So work-wise, I'm trying to travel less. Because for a while, because I get flown out to go to a lot of different places. They'll fly me out and put me and my team up in exchange for our promotions, and I'll be like a guest judge for the tattoo competitions.
Nice.
A lot of people don't know that, but these tattoo conventions, they have tattoo competitions. So I'm one of the guest judges. But
how do you kind of even gauge? Like, how do you measure that?
What, best tattoo?
Yeah. From your perspective,
it all depends on the style, So if it's like a traditional tattoo, it's all line work. You want to look at straight lines.
Okay.
Saturation, color schemes. If you're looking at like a color realism or a black and gray, you're looking at longevity. Like, will this last? A lot of especially the color realism tattoos, if they're not done properly, a year or two down the road, the ink starts falling out. So there's tattoos that look amazing, brand new, but look garbage 2 years later. So you're pretty much, when I'm judging a tattoo, I'm instantly like getting all close and looking for imperfections, which kind of makes me a jerk. I'm just sitting here like
trying to find what you did wrong. I got to see what you did wrong.
Yeah, I'm instantly, if there's line work, traditional, neo-traditional, or, geometric, all that stuff, I'm just looking for an unperfect line. Where's a crooked line? Oh, there's one. Where's a crooked line? There's one. I'm just looking for imperfections, So once you get that out of the way, then you're looking at overall composition and saturation and creativity and way it flows with the body, but us being as strong on social media as we've been our entire existence of our brand, and a lot of that's me. We have a team, but a lot of it's me. I'm staring at tattoos all day, every day for like 20 years, like my business partner's a tattooer. I'm not, but I know that world. I knew that world before we started our clothing company.
Would you say that's kind of like your demographic for Sullen, a lot of tattoo world?
Absolutely. Yeah, we started off our couch over 20 years ago, and at first we were kind of like, growing up in Orange County, LA, it's a lot of it's action sports back then, so it's like you see these skate brands, surf brands. So I had a skate team, a BMX team, a surf team, but we were struggling, so then we're like, oh no, like it's not working. But I'm not a pro skater. My partner's not a pro skater, but he was tattooing all of us on the side. Oh, okay, we got a BMX team. Oh, now we got an MMA team. MMA's blowing up, like let's sponsor some MMA fighters. So we were trying to find ourselves, but all the shirts still had a tattoo aesthetic. Ryan was still tattooing all of us on the side. A lot of the artwork looked tattoo related, but we were still trying to find ourselves. And it wasn't until like year 6 when Ryan started drawing with a couple tattooers, and that was the first few shirts that got the eyes of like, Tilly's and some of the mall shops. So it was like that aha moment. It's like, this is what we're supposed to be doing. Hand-drawn artwork, putting their artwork on the shirt, and then we'll actually put the name on the shirt and actively promote them. So that's when we started seeing success. So that was definitely a light bulb moment for us. It's like, okay, this is our thing.
How many years did that take to get to that moment right there?
I think it was like year 6 or 7. It was like we started in 2001. I don't really count the first few years because we were running out of our apartment, off our couch,
Yeah.
Got our first warehouse, I think, which was like a garage, like year 4. So that's probably like 2005. And then I think it was like 2007 is when Ryan started drawing with tattooers. And luckily for us, some of the first people he started drawing with, you know, they were known locally, but now they're arguably, you know, a few of the best tattooers on the planet.
Wow.
You know, so like a few of our very first guys, you know, which is Carlos Torres, Nico Hurtado, you know, Jack Rudy. These guys are legends and masters in their craft. So a little bit of luck, teaming up with the right people at the right time. And I think all the stars aligned. You know, I think that was a time in the tattoo world where, you know, even the word tattoo artist was kind of new, you know, because there's different types of tattooers. There's some tattooers, they don't want to be called a tattoo artist. They're like, this isn't an art, it's a craft. You know, and then there's other guys who, you know, they went to art school and they like to paint and charcoal and draw, and they're artsy fartsy and they're full on art nerds, you know what I mean? And they go pick up a machine and make these amazing. So there's different, you know, there's different classes in that world, but I forget what the question was now.
So while I was asking you, we were talking about traveling, right? You do these conventions and stuff like that with tattoo artists and stuff like that. Now you're making these travels a lot shorter, and you want to focus more on long-term ones with your family.
Traveling, I went off script.
No, because I asked you a question. That's why,
Dude, I honestly, back to traveling.
Yeah.
Here's another thing. As I travel and as I'm getting older here in my 40s, I'm realizing that traveling is hard on people. You know, like when I'm sitting here going through TSA in a different country and there's people getting sweated, you look at people's eyes, their anxiety's high. You know, they got lost luggage, they're late to their flight. And I've come to realize there's an expiration date on traveling. There's going to be a time where you get too old, you don't want to travel anymore. So that's another thing. So I'm sort of trying to hurry up and travel as much as I can because I realize there's going to be a day where I don't want to travel anymore. My parents, they don't want to travel. My dad, you know, he has Parkinson's with dementia. I think he probably hopped on his last plane a couple of years ago, and we were sort of in a hurry. Hey, let's hurry up and take some trips with Dad before he can't travel anymore.
Yeah.
And I think we got a couple trips in just in time. I don't think he can travel anymore. You know, I don't. My wife's parents, they're not interested in hopping on a plane. So I think there's an expiration date to traveling. I think not everyone can travel all their lives. And I think it's the best education in the world. And I think it gives you wisdom.
Yeah, and I love that you said that because I think a lot of people don't understand that, like, your belief of anything will be so small if you've never traveled. Because in my mind, when I lived in Bali, because, you know, for me, because I'm always examining stuff. When I lived in Bali, I loved it. That's my second home. I'm going back in April.
How long?
I was there for 6 months in Asia.
Good.
And going again in April for a month. And so when I was there, you know, I learned the language. I learned Indonesian, Bali, you know, Hinduism is what they believe in. I made friends out there, and my brain goes, God, there's no way all these people are going to hell because they're Bali Hinduism. These are the nicest, kindest, caring, family-oriented people, good hearts. And then again, traveling does that for me. I was like, there's no way. So, you know, it opens my mind. And then different cultures and different ways of living. And you're right. It's like, wow, here, nothing in America matters here. The way we move, the way we nothing matters. They don't care about it. This is not what it is. And all these people are happy. And there's other ways to do things, other ways to live your life. I'm like, whoa. So, yeah, it opened up my mind and it educated me. So now when I'm back here and someone tries to get a little, you know, like, oh, yeah, they're going to hell and this and that, I just kind of go, just listen. Well, good for you. You know, I don't really agree with that. You know what I mean? I'm like, have you traveled? What do you mean? Like, have you been outside the country? Well, no. Okay, then you really don't. Bro, I have the book. This book says everything. And I'm like, yeah, but you're seeing it through the lens of a very small-minded person still, you know? So I love that you said how it's so educational.
And where you went, I'm just picturing it, you know? I haven't been to Bali.
Highly recommend, though. You go.
I've heard good things. But there might be a man, he might not have any legs, and he's like the happiest guy you'll ever meet. That's the guy I want to be. I want to be the guy who, no matter what hard times you've been through, what you're going through, you're still happy, loving life, loving God. You know, like, I'm looking for joy. I'm looking for smile and laughs. And I know that life ain't easy. I know that life is difficult. But that's the guy I want to be. I want to be the guy who, no matter what he's been through, he's still grateful and happy. And I feel like whenever I say that, I always picture, like, you know, an Asian country, you know, with somebody who figured it out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're happy.
Yeah.
No matter what they've gone through.
Yeah, and I think that's powerful, right? It's life is hard.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's your health, people you love are gonna die. That's just what it is.
Yes.
You know, it just happens. You know what I mean? I'm sure the older you get, right, as you get older, you think about things differently.
Absolutely.
I'm closer to death than I am to life. It's just what it is, you know?
Yeah, and what were the best years?
Mm-hmm.
Have they came yet?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you always think life's going to get easier as you get older. You just get better at it, but you go through more hard times, you know? I haven't lost any of my parents yet. My wife hasn't lost hers, but I know it's in the near future.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's not going to be easy. You know, I got a lot of friends who have lost their parents. That's something that's going to change your life, you know? So it's like, I don't think life gets easier.
Mm-hmm.
I think you just, you learn to cope, and you learn, you know, to deal with it and enjoy it. You know, because I sit here and I think, like, if someone were to ask you, when were the best years of your life? You know, like, I was one of those ones that enjoyed high school. I didn't hate high school.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but had a good time in my 20s, built my business in my 30s, started figuring things out in my 40s. You know, and even like during the 3 years that I just went through, those were also, in a weird way, some of the best years of my life. How can you have some of the best years of your life when you're going through this family heartache and pain, you know? But I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, and what do you mean by that? Because I know we don't have to go too deep into it, right? But you've been on the other side of addiction, right? We've seen your loved one. So you said it's like hard 3 years. You're going through a lot, whether it's, you know, your loved ones and your family, your partner. How did you navigate through that? And what do you mean it was kind of one of the best times of your life, you were saying?
I mean, you know, starting a business is, it's a lot of work, and you have dreams, and you have these goals, and then when you reach those dreams and those goals, it feels good. But then right around that time, all of a sudden a family member, you know, you realize that they have a really bad addiction, and, you know, you put them in rehab. Of course, this is the short version.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they go to rehab. They break out of rehab. You get a call from the nurse. Hey,
AMA.
You know?
Yeah.
They broke out of rehab. Okay, I got to leave this concert with my son and go, you know, hopefully find them. You know, you get them back in rehab. Now it's a different one because they didn't want to go back to that one. They want to go to a different one. So it's like on the business side, all my dreams were coming true. You know, I was able to buy my first home. I was able to, you know, pay the cars off. Like financially, all my dreams were coming true. I was able to take these vacations with my kids, you know. But then at the same time, I have this close loved one who's battling addiction, and that is something that will change your life forever, you know. So it's like, while some of the best things are happening, some of the worst things are happening, you know. And then on social media, everyone just thinks, "Oh, I want to be like him. I want to be like
Jeremy
him."
Sullen, look at him.
Yeah.
Sullen, yeah.
Oh, he's here, he's there, he's hanging out with that person. That
person. Look, he knows them. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just like, yeah, but I'm going through it too, you know. I'm putting on my happy face at work, and I might be going home and getting down on my knees praying to God, dropping tears, you know.
Do you feel like you were leaning on God more than ever during that season?
And yes, and I feel guilty about it. I always lean on God so much when I need Him, and I always apologize to Him when I'm praying, and I do realize that. Although I've always had a good relationship with Christ, but yes, this time I really, really needed to lean on Him, you know. Just like, and everyone says, give it to God, you know, and that's so hard to do. That's another thing I'm envious of. When I see people who are able to like really give it to God and smile, you know, and for the real hard times, you know, like I'd be praying to Him like, I want to give it all to You. I want to have faith in You, you know. But then you'll still tear up at that song, or you know, that reminder, or you know, the text message you get from them while they're in rehab. You know what I mean? Like
you wake up, you're like, crap, I still feel the same like I did last night.
Yeah. You wake up without them. You go to bed without them. You know what I mean? Like, it's really, really hard. And I've mentioned that. You know, I got a lot of, like you mentioned, I got a lot of drug addicts, sober addicts in my life. And it's weird that God brought all these sober addicts into my life. I didn't do it on purpose, you know. But like Mohawk and Hoon, they're both like 8 years sober. My gym partner Mike, he's 20+ years sober. One of my other musician friends, he's 9 years sober. You know, like I got all these sober addicts in my life, you know. And then I start venting to them, you know, and it's just like, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. I don't. It's a trip. How all this. How God brought all of us together, but yeah, I know that world. It's not easy, you know. Like I got a lot of addicts in my family, and it's heartbreaking, you know. It's heartbreaking, and but I feel like there's a lot of knowledge online for addicts, and there's a lot of support for addicts, and I've been to AA, you know, with this family member, the open ones, you know. There's one in Sunset Beach that I liked a lot because it was both. AA and Al-Anon.
Oh yeah, yep.
Or just the open ones, just being in there. But I tell a lot of my friends who are battling with addiction, I'm like, dude, go to AA. Like, it's kind of fun.
It's fun.
Like you walk in this room and it's a bunch of like-minded individuals that look just like us.
Yeah.
They've had hard times.
Yeah. Stories are so funny sometimes. You're showing like us laughing. You're laughing there.
I compare AA to like church or the gym. You know, I know a lot of people are kicking their feet. I don't want to go, but every time you leave there, you feel better.
Feel great.
You feel better leaving there.
Yeah.
You hear these stories. You hear these motivational stories and speeches. And
it's like going to Tony Robbins' event for free.
Yes.
That's what it is. Yeah. You hear all the one-liners and that's powerful testimonies.
Exactly.
And you laugh. I remember I had a guy one time, it was funny, you know, you're having a bad day, you go in, this guy's like, man, guys, I messed up. You know, you're listening. He goes, so I thought my girl was cheating on me. So I broke into her house and I stole her cat to make her think someone did it. But I freaking lost the cat in my car. And now she hit me up crying the cat. And I didn't want to be honest. So I said I'm going to help her find it. And I'm just like, they're like, oh my God. You know, when you get that light, get outside of self. But then you hear some wisdom right after too. He's like, man, I know I got to make it right. Yeah. You know, I was praying on it. And God's just saying, you know, I know if I don't get honest and make an amends, like this could take me out. But you know, look at that.
That's a story you'll never forget.
Yeah.
But that's another thing I love about AA. Yeah. I love that they almost like, kind of secretly bring Christianity into your life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. God as you understand.
Yeah. But they don't Bible thump, you know? It's the higher being.
Higher being, higher power, whatever you need. And the funny thing is, Bill and Bob that wrote the AA book are Christians. But the reason why they took Jesus out of it and put God as you understand, because they go, well, hold on, a lot of alcoholics are stubborn. We might push some people away. So let's change the verbiage. But the whole book is based on Bible principles.
Yeah. And people like Russell Brand, who probably would have never been Christian. AA is the one that introduced him to that. You know what I mean? So I love that it's kind of like, I don't want to say a secret way, but it's just...
good marketing.
Yeah, but for stubborn people. Yeah. I don't believe in that, you know, but then you know, you're going through your steps and then you kind of slowly realize like, oh, crap. I think I believe in that.
You know? That's amazing.
Yeah, I think it's great.
What do you feel like, let's say like there's people who are in a situation where their loved one's in addiction, like what did you do to help you navigate those hard times, right? When the emotions are high, 3 years, like how did you navigate that? Was it therapy? Was it books? Like what was it that helped?
All of it. All of it. It was hard.
Yeah.
It was hard. I was glued. I was reading books. I was on YouTube. I was in therapy. You know, and these therapists, a lot of them would piss me off. Because it was my wife. It was my wife I had to put in rehab. And I love her to death. I never stopped loving her. But she picked up a bad habit late in life that she did when she was a kid. You know, my wife has lupus. It's an autoimmune disease. It makes you tired. And my wife is definitely one of those girls who's all about her looks. You know, she wants to stay skinny. She likes to stay pretty. She likes to put makeup on. And she, you know, she ended up stumbling upon some meth in a family member's room. And she's like, oh, I remember this. And she started doing it. And she was secretly doing it, you know, for a long time. And it was hard for me to put a finger on it, you know, because I would drug test her and she'd pass it, you know. And I remember the first time I found it, and but her thing was, it threw her in a paranoid state where she would accuse me of cheating. And, you know, this was, of course, shortened version because I put her in rehab once. She's the one that broke out.
Yeah.
Put her in again. And every time I'd talk, she'd relapse. She stayed 6 months sober once. And she's doing great now, by the way. And she's the girl of my dreams, you know. She's an amazing human. But she comes from a family of addicts. And I'd be in therapy, and I would tell these therapists how my wife would just accuse me of cheating every day, and she was hallucinating, like she was in psychosis. She would microdose it every day. Like I think she would like do a little bit every morning when I'd leave for work. So she would drive me crazy all day long, like texting me, "You're cheating on me, you're cheating." And I'm like, stop it, I'm not. Because I'm not that person, you know what I mean? Like, I'm a hopeless romantic. I want the storybook ending. I'm a Christian. I'm not a cheater. I've never cheated on a girlfriend in my life, you know? But she has been in relationships in the past where they cheated, you know? Right. She knows what it feels like. But these therapists would tell me, "Oh, you need to tell her this." And they were kind of like, "Oh, I would leave my wife." I had 3 different therapists tell me that, like even a female, you know. This one lady, she's like, because my wife would accuse me of sleeping with her best friends. And she would try to tell me that she saw it. She saw it on our security camera. She saw it in this picture. Look at this picture, you know. And I'm like, "Honey, you're crazy." Like, "No, I'm not. I never would. She's married. I don't even talk to her. Stop it." But yeah, these therapists would be like, if my wife told me that I was sleeping with one therapist, a female, so she's like, "I'll be honest with you, if my husband was accusing me of sleeping with his best friend and I wasn't, I don't think I could stay with him." And another guy, same thing. He's just like, "You need to tell her, listen, I'm leaving you if you don't stop accusing me of sleeping." I'm like, "Dude, you don't get it. Like, I've already done all that. Like, I'm not trying to lose her. I'm trying to get my wife back. I'm not trying to give her ultimatums. You think that's going to work?" You know? And so, yeah, dude, all of it. Therapy, I was glued to YouTube videos, you know, books. I read a number of books about codependency and all these different things. And there was finally a channel that I stumbled upon that helped me. And I think it's called Put the Shovel Down, something like that. I know her name's Amber. She's a therapist. And she has this thing called the craft method. And that's what helped me. And it was like teaching you to try to be their warm blanket rather than sitting them in the principal's office. And she was like, you know, if you're the one always like doing this, you need, you know, like the tough love thing, like you're not going to be their go-to. You're not going to be their person. You want to be their person. You want to be the person they feel safe around and they want to talk to you. You don't want to be the cop or the principal doing this. And I was always trying that stuff. Like, I'd put her in rehab and I would just shower with love. But then at the same time, I would give her a little bit of tough love too. And yeah, that just didn't work for her. She's rebellious and she's stubborn, and she'd get in there and, you know, she would still be accusing me of cheating. And I'm thinking, I'm scared to death because if you think I'm a cheater, you're going to cheat on me. I'm not a cheater, you know? Like, I even took a lie detector test and showed her, like, look it, I'm not cheating. She's like, this just makes you look more guilty. And then all the people while she's in recovery, they're agreeing with her. Like, her case manager, her therapist, the girls, they're like, yeah, girl, that makes him look even more guilty that he go do that. I'm just like pulling my hair. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, her case manager and therapist are almost saying like, yeah, maybe you should leave him, you know? Like, everyone's, oh, you poor girl, poor you. Yeah, you guys aren't meant to be. You know, I just felt like everyone was against me. And I'm the only person that cares, because not that I'm the only person that cares, but, you know, when she comes from a family of addicts, they're not necessarily like, yeah, go to rehab. You know, like, I was the one taking all the steps to get her there, to get her to stay there, put money, you know, all the stuff.
Yeah, that's why I always say, like, you know, because, you know, I'm a therapist myself. When I work with the addict and the normies at home, I've learned, I believe only half of what you're saying. Yeah. Because there's your story, there's his story, and then there's the story. Yeah. So sometimes when someone doesn't have that mindset, the therapist is going to take everything what they're saying, like, oh, okay, yeah, he's the bad one then, right? But really, they're not really listening. So then, yeah, you feel alienated. Yeah. Like, what do you mean? Like, I tell you to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, and, you know, like, I get it. Being an entrepreneur, I'm not an easy person to be married to. I own a clothing company that works with tattooers all over the world. Tattooers, there's a lot of sinners. You know what I mean? Like, they live a rock star lifestyle. I take my wife with me. traveling all the time, but she would see these tattooers cheat on their wives. She became friends with the wives. Now this tattooer's going and running off to a hotel room with some other girl.
She here's all the stories, what's going on.
Yeah, so, but we're not all like that.
Yeah, even visually, right? They can see like, man, he's around all these hot women. Like, look at, you already know how that world is.
Yeah,
so,
I understand it's not easy to be married to me. My wife has been a great supporter and trooper and came in when I needed her. But I also understand, like we have these tattooed models, they want to get posted and shared, and they want to model our brand, and they're in the DMs, But at the same time, like anyone that follows me knows how crazy I am about my wife. So luckily for me, I don't get that. I don't get girls approaching me. I don't get girls, and I know there's some really shady girls out there. They don't care if you're married or not. But I've been real fortunate. Like I post my wife a lot. Everyone knows how in love we are. I get it. So when she goes into recovery and she's talking about my job, my lifestyle, and maybe quoting some things I said when I lose my temper or something, I get painted out to be the bad guy, and it was really, really hard. It was really hard. Yeah,
it's funny. I have a buddy who, in the tattoo world, right, a musician. And he'd be like, look at my phone, craziest DMs. I'm like, girls tell you that straightforward? I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, rock star life. So I talked to my other buddy who looks just like him. And I go, hey, bro, how do you deal with that? He goes, I don't get that. Like, what do you mean? You're a pretty boy, you're tatted up, I see you. He goes, yeah, but I post my wife all the time. I talk about family and values. Everybody knows me. I talk about my wife. So he's like, so because of that, people don't approach me like that. Yeah. He's like, it's because your buddy, look how he posts his stuff. It doesn't even look like he has a wife. I go, oh, I didn't realize that. Okay, cool. So when you're saying that, I'm like, it makes sense.
That makes me feel good to hear that because, like I think people do think like, oh, if you're a certain person, you got girls in your
that's
DMs.
happening. Yeah, it's like,
I don't.
Yeah. I don't either.
Yeah.
My chick would always think, I bet you every girl hits you. I'm like, no, because look at my videos. Yeah. I'm like crying and talking about love and relationships and coming together. I'm like, that's not, women hit me up more of like, oh my gosh, I really wish my husband could watch this. It's more like that. It's, shoot it to your husband. Yeah. And then she's like, she didn't get it. And then I try to show her. I'm like, plus I bring you everywhere. I'm not dumb. I wouldn't bring you places if I had something to hide.
Totally. But my wife, being paranoid like she was, when she was in psychosis, she's accusing me of sleeping with everybody. Her dad hired a private investigator. I had a private investigator follow me around for a couple months. And then when she's in rehab, my father-in-law finally came clean. He's like, Jeremy, I know you're innocent. I hired a private investigator. And he said that he didn't see anything on you. I'm like, really? You did? He's like, yeah. Which I was mad at myself that I didn't catch on. I know someone followed me around. I had no idea. But like passing the lie detector and having a private investigator and my wife and her recovery friends in there, they're all still sitting there crapping on me, telling me I'm the devil. Like it was freaking hard, man. But it brought me and my kids closer together. Like my kids seeing me step up and be able to be reliable, so like I started coming home early and I would just work my second half, from the couch or from my home office. So I was still working, but I was home. I just wanted to be, I didn't want my kids coming home from school to a silent house with no mom there, you know what I mean? But they were upset too. And they were, mad at her. And there were times where they didn't want to talk to her and that hurt too. And I know it hurt her.
How did you, for you as a parent, how do you kind of navigate that where you don't want to like, take someone's side and be against each other, but those are still your kids' feelings and they're valid?
Yeah, but they knew how much I loved her. You know what I mean? Like I think I was guilty of, they would hear me crying. They'd hear me upstairs just crying. Yeah. Praying. They knew how emotional I was and how sad it made me. But me and my wife have always been very in love, very affectionate to each other. Like obviously, made for each other. Like we've always been very passionate and affectionate towards each other, holding hands, arm around each other, all that stuff. We've always been that couple. And I post my wife a lot, I do post my wife a lot, and I'll do the total sappy, Valentine's or anniversary. My business partner will be like, dude, quit it. You're making us all look bad. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm that guy. Yeah. So I think my kids knew, but they also knew that, she was messing up. and none of us knew how to navigate it. We didn't. But luckily, she snapped out of it. She called me one day, and I remember that week was a rough week. She was being real mean to me. It was Thanksgiving week. It's always hard being without your wife during holidays. There's been a Halloween where I passed out candy by myself. I had a couple Thanksgivings without her. I remember she missed one or two of the kids' first day of school. We always had a routine to take pictures out front the first day of school, all that stuff. So doing that stuff by yourself, it's just real sad. But yeah, she called me on Thanksgiving. She texted me and she said something like, "I'm grateful for my children and for the way you provide for our family," which was a little bit of blow to the gut. Like, really? I'm at home missing you. That's your third time in rehab, and all I get is you're grateful for making you a couple kids, or for being a good provider. So I'm trying to call her. I think she answered. I'm like, I'm trying to talk to her. Sad. At my sister's house, Thanksgiving with my family. And then the next day, I remember I had another real sad conversation with her. But then Saturday, she called me. I remember my parents were camping down in Carlsbad. They had their RV parked overlooking the ocean. And I got a call from her. And I don't know. She came too. She was just like, "I want to come home. I want to be the wife that you deserve. I want to be the mother that the kids deserve. I want to make it up to you. I'm so sorry. I want to come home. I love you. I miss you." All the things you want to hear. And I'm just eating it up. And I'm like, "All right, come home. We're waiting for you." You don't always know if that's the right answer.
Right.
Should she finish out this stint? I think she was like, at that point in time, she was moving from different recovery centers. She went from one, and then she's like, "I want to be in an all-girls one." And this one, she's a big animal lover. This one did I don't know, I think they did yoga with baby goats or something.
Nice.
And then she wanted to go to another one that had horse stables.
Yeah.
But yeah, she came home, and the rest is history.
How long ago was that from that day?
2 years.
Nice.
Yeah, 2 years this last Christmas.
And that's beautiful, is that, because again, I think a lot of people don't understand what it's like to be on the other side. Years of that, years of minute by minute, second by second, you don't know what's going to happen. You never know if an addict's going to get right. That's just the reality. I'm sure you learned that. There's nothing you can do unless they want it. But it's beautiful to hear that through that process and that patience and all that experience that you get that phone call.
I was losing her.
Yeah.
I didn't know until she got out and her head started getting more clear, but she was talking to a lawyer. She was talking about divorcing me. I knew I was losing her. I knew I was losing her mentally. The stories she would tell me, her psychosis was so deep, she was hallucinating. She would think I was hiding my girlfriend in her attic. When I was gone, she'd be talking to the attic. "I know you're up there." Crazy stuff. She said, "Oh, I saw a video camera. You were having sex with so-and-so, one of her friends in the backyard." I'm like, "Let's see it." "Oh, it's not there anymore. You deleted it." "I knew you would delete it." "I saw you took off running down the street naked." I'm like, "Really?" You caught me having sex and I took off running. She was hallucinating crazy.
That's math.
But yeah, when she went in rehab her last time, turns out, she took off her wedding ring and was telling everyone that she's divorcing me, and she was talking to a lawyer, and I'm just at home, just praying every day, talking to her dad, and I could even hear it in her dad's voice, that he started having doubts, I don't know, I think she might not want to come home, and I'm like, dude, what's going on? But anyways, I don't want to sit there and keep talking about that. I got her back. I love her to death. She's my my everything. She's my forever. And I'm glad that I passed that test.
Yeah.
Because that was definitely a life test that changed me forever. I don't wish it upon anybody. And addiction is real. And I want to be able to help anyone out that I can.
Yeah, see, and now you can be that person for the normie, right, that's going through it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you understand that pain emotionally.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. You can read about it is one thing, but I think that true love and compassion comes from when you've been through it.
Yeah.
Because it's complicated.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Just like when people say, well, just tell them not to do that. That's easy to tell a stranger. But can you tell your wife that? Good luck.
Yeah.
Let's see if you can handle the emotions that you have to sit with each and every day after that, you know?
Yes.
So I appreciate you sharing that. So as we come to the end of this podcast, we do these speed questions, right? So first speed question is, what are 3 books you'd recommend to somebody to read that could completely change their life? Whether it's in business, whether it's mindset, whether it's seeing a loved one go through addiction. Like, what are 3 books you'd recommend?
Can I look on my phone?
Yeah.
I want to. I always get the names wrong, but recently I finished. Let's see. Here we go. The 4 Agreements.
That's a great book. And it's
Yeah.
an easy read too, but it's powerful.
Easy read is once you get past the first couple chapters, because you know a lot of times they have these introductory
Prefaces
chapters
and all that stuff. Yeah.
and I'm trying to figure out where they're going with
Yeah.
it. But when I finally read it, I was like, dude, I want to read this again.
Don't take anything personal. Don't assume anything. Not some things, but
Yeah. Think and Grow Rich, which I know
powerful
is a go-to. And then the one that really helped me out with codependency was Hold Me Tight. Yeah, Hold Me Tight, Think and Grow Rich, and then the 4 Agreements, I think, are 3 must-reads. I'm trying to read more.
Yeah, reading's powerful. I always say if you want to learn things fast, read a book. They've already been through the process. If you really want to hang out with that person, like, oh, I would love to hang out with, let's say, Tony Robbins. Okay, read his book. What do you mean? That's like hanging out with him. Those are his words.
I bought the Tony Robbins. I think it's just called Money. I bought it. I haven't read it yet. I put it on a couple times, but I wasn't in the right frame of mind to like listen to this money talk.
Take it in. You're just like, no, right now.
But I'm a huge Tony Robbins fan. I think he's a pretty rad human being. So he's somebody who I trust, like on a character level.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well, his book about money has to be, I don't know. I feel kind of slimy reading a book about money in general,
Yeah.
But as I get older, I want to, I want to be able to invest and have something for my kids.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get wiser.
Yeah. What would you say, what was one mindset shift that completely changed your life?
I would say, 2, stop worrying about the small things. And the second one is realizing that nobody cares about you, but more in an entrepreneurial way. I think so many people are scared of what other people think, and they don't realize that other people are worrying about their own dang lives. You know what I mean? No one cares. Even like social media, nowadays we know social media is how you market your brand.
Yeah.
You want to start a business? It don't matter what business it is. You better be on social media promoting your business. And there's a lot of my friends, I just don't know what to post, or I don't know about this, or I don't know. I'm like, but you can tell there's someone in their mind that's in their head where they don't want to post because someone's going to see it.
Yeah.
Whether it's a family member or a friend or
a stranger.
It might even be someone, a high school bully or something that know follows you that you know is going to.
Yeah.
But dude, like putting those blinders on and stop caring what people think and just go. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's a big one. Just stop caring what people think and stop sweating the small stuff. My business partner always says, is this going to affect me a year from now? If this isn't going to affect me from a year from now, it's not important. Another go-to line that I kind of like is, I only have so many F's to give a day. You know what I mean? Like, is this worthy of it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So sometimes, like, in me talking to all these different people from all over the world every day, people do come to me with drama. And I'm just getting a lot better at, like, dude, there's more important stuff to worry about. Stop it. Like, you think this is a big deal, but no.
Yeah. It's a big deal to you maybe, but it's not a big deal.
It's not.
Yeah. No, I love that. Yeah. I think, especially in the creative space or entrepreneur, like you can't care.
Yeah.
Cause that was my struggle my whole life and still is, I do care what people think too much.
Me too.
And, I noticed even right now I'm at this battle where I'm building this new studio and my buddy goes, what do you want to do? I'm like, I would really love to just I like interesting people, but I don't know what people at the church will think or my godly friends will think. And I work in that arena of recovery. Like, is it going to hurt certain things? Are they going to get mad? But then, but deep down inside, I don't agree with all of them.
Yeah.
Like, I want to do this, I like like to me, this is just me. I always joke around. I'm always like, yo, let's go to the strip club and do a Bible study there. Imagine that. Like we're just like reading the word in there. You know what I mean? Like that. Like how cool would that visually look? Like these guys are really reading a Bible. You know, so besides some friends that laugh, some people are like, that's not right. But that's just how my brain thinks. So I'm like, why not? Like, that's what I would want to do.
You better document that.
You know what I mean? Interviewing people. Like I'm fascinated with people who are like dominatrix in the sex world, because it's like, I go like, why are you into this stuff? Like, you want that to happen to you? Like, right. I remember one time I had a guy hit me up because I used to be in that world, and he's like, I'll pay you 125. No, what was it? No, I think it was like $1 million or something if you can eat me. I'm gonna kill myself with this chemical that I have. I'll sign a contract that I okayed it, and if you could just eat me. Wow. And the guy's serious, and I'm looking at this. I'm just like, what the hell has this guy been through to want to do this? It's so fascinating. And he's serious. Yeah. Like, to me, it's fascinating.
Yeah, to break it down.
You know what I mean? Like, why, that world, or people into weird stuff. Like, this one kid would dress up like a baby all the time, and I would see him like, hey, I'm not judging you. If anything, I'm envious that you could do that in public. Yeah. So that's how my brain works, right? So, because I care so much what people think, I can't do that.
I'm guilty as well. I'm definitely guilty of wanting everyone to like me. Like when I show up somewhere, I want to make friends.
Yeah.
I'll turn the charisma on. I want people to like me. I want to make friends.
Yeah.
But I guess when it comes to social media, that's where I'm a little bit better at. Just post it, don't care, let it do its thing.
Do you try to not look at it too much? Like, I'm not going to give too much attention and read everything and all that.
If it's something where it's on the line, like where you do get that feeling like, oh, should I post this? If that's the case, then if I do decide to go ahead and post it, I'll just leave it alone and not look at it for a couple of days.
Yeah.
But for normal posts, you're supposed to engage and go back and make sure you're talking to them and answering questions, stuff like that. But there's just so many people out there that are so afraid to put themselves out there. They want to start these businesses, but they're so afraid to just post. Like my two kids, they'll post on story feed all day long, but they won't actually post.
Where it's like stood there.
These youngsters, they got hardly no posts.
Yeah.
But they'll do story feed here and there, but they're just so. And it's like, who is it in your mind that you're so worried about? Who's gonna say something to you?
Yeah. It's always wild too when you have people that don't even realize it, but they're still living to please their mom and dad. And they never realize it. And their parents might not even be alive anymore. Right. But the reason why they're a lawyer or a doctor is because they said that's the way, and they don't want to let them down. But deep down inside, they hate being a doctor and a lawyer. It's wild and fascinating.
Yeah, but to have success, we have to be a little bit degaff. You know what I mean? Like, we have to not care what these people are thinking. Yeah. And you forget about it because you'll show up to your family events or holidays or whatever, and all of a sudden aunts or cousins bring up a certain post. You're like, oh, you saw that? Like, why wouldn't they? They follow you. You're putting it out there. But I'm lucky where I'll put stuff out there, and I kind of forget how many people are following me, or old high school friends or family members. So I think maybe that's a better way to think. I just put it out there. Yeah. Don't think about it too much. Don't think everyone's going to judge me.
Because even if you do everything right, people are still going to talk shit.
Yes.
Or have a false perception. I've learned that. There's people right now going, Fausto's definitely still getting high. I saw that video with Jeremy. Fausto's eyes were like that. It's just what it is. Right. And it's just like, okay, I guess I'm getting high too. And Fausto's whatever. So I've learned that. It's like, even if you do everything right, people are still going to talk shit. Yes. So just do what you love and not care what people think.
Well, a lot of times, with getting healthy comes with losing weight. And you lose weight and your face is thinner and your facial structure showing. Yeah, you're getting accused of being on drugs.
Yeah. Or why are you getting so skinny?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm lean. No, you need to eat more. It's like, who are you to tell me that? Yeah. Like, it's crazy. Yeah.
When you're healthier than you've ever been.
Yeah.
Like your heart's doing better than it's ever been.
Right.
And you're feeling great. But they want to sit there and crap on you and tell you you're on drugs. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. My next question is, it's a funny one. What's the worst piece of advice someone's ever given you?
The worst piece of advice someone's ever given me. That's a good question. I mean, it probably kind of go hand in hand. I can't think of one sentence, but it'd probably kind of go back to the same question, if you put that up, so-and-so might see it or so-and-so might see it, like trying to tell you should care about what people think of you, whereas I'm like, no, it's not. But I I can't think of like one moment where someone said something. I'm like, dude, that's horrible advice.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I'm lucky in that way. I think who you surround yourself around is so important. It's everything. You know what I mean? I think you definitely want to try to weed out negativity and negative people. But no, that is a good question. I'll have to come back to you on that one.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, mine was you need to kind of calm down your personality. You know what I mean? That was something I grew up hearing. I'm like, you're a lot. You're too much. And so for me, I don't know, I'm a kid, so I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm too much. I need to, like, I remember I had a season where I was reading the newspaper at 16 years old because I thought, oh wait, I probably should be reading the newspaper, right? I think that's what like a guy does, a man. So I'd go to Starbucks here in Placentia reading a newspaper. You know what I mean? Because everyone always tell me you're too much. Like, you need to calm down. Because I was so different. I was very different.
Yeah.
I was a very different kid.
No, run with it. I think I got all that stuff. I think I got, ADHD, ADD, OCD, bipolar. Like,
you got all the D's.
like my mind is strange, and I know I'm weird, but whatever. It's. I jokingly say it's part of my genius. I'd say here's some advice. It probably goes back to starting my business. Like starting a clothing company. I had a lot of people tell me don't, or give it up, or stop. That was probably some of the worst advice I'd heard. Is people like, dude, everyone wants to have their own clothing company, which I agree. And I'll be honest, if I'm at a social gathering and someone asks me, what do you do for a living? I'll be honest with you, saying it out loud almost makes me feel silly, because, I have a clothing company, like, oh, okay.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah.
Got a clothing company.
Yeah, my cousin too, him too, them too.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I'll say I'm a clothing manufacturer, just so it sounds a little bit more like
fancy,
professional. Not like, oh, I got a T-shirt company. I started off my couch. We work with tattoo art.
It's kind of like when people say, "What do you do for a living?" Oh, I'm an artist. Oh, here we go. Yeah, okay, your mixtape. Oh, well, I'm working on it.
Yeah, it's like saying I'm in a band.
Yeah.
What do you do for a living? Oh, I'm a musician. I know, but what pays the bills? But yeah, I'm one of the lucky ones.
That's beautiful. And then for my last question, let's say you had 1 minute with 1 minute with a man, and his wife right now is getting high, and he's worried. He doesn't know how to handle it. He doesn't know what to do. He feels alone. What would you want to tell him?
Talking to a man whose wife is has an addiction.
Currently right now relapsed, on the streets, getting high. He's trying to get her help. And what would you want to tell him? He feels alone right now. He feels he has no one to talk to. What would you want to tell him?
I mean, I'd say let's go to lunch. Let's go to dinner. It wouldn't be one sentence. I'd want to, fellowship with him. I'd want to sit and talk with him. I'd want to tell him my story. I'd want to tell him all the things I did wrong and what worked for me. I'd want to tell him not to give up. I'd want to tell him to love on her and be patient and realize that she's sick and this isn't her. This isn't this part of her isn't who you married. Like let's get her back. Yeah, I'd want to spend some time with him. I don't think there's just one sentence I could say except, pray, give her love, and don't lose your mind. I think, I can't emphasize enough how hard it is to go through that, and I know, you're an addict. I got all these addict friends in my life, and sorry, I thought I put on silent. I guess my watch still makes noise. So many of my addict friends, when I would talk about what I was going through, they're like, dude, I want to go home and give my mom a hug. Like, I put my mom through so much. We talked about it. There's a lot of support for addicts, but there's not a ton of support for family members that are going through it. Moms, husbands, wives who are scared to death of losing this person because addiction's ugly, man. And when it's got you by the boo-boo, man, it's sometimes it's got you. And we all know, fentanyl out there, like fentanyl is laced in everything. I had a friend, they did a little experiment. They grabbed 4 different things of meth from 4 different people, and all 4 of them had fentanyl in them. You know what I mean? So it's like you're playing Russian roulette. When my wife was on meth, I feared I would have the view of coming home and she was on the bottom of the stairs on the ground blue. Me or the kids finding her dead. It's hard. So, But I'm blessed. I'm one of the lucky ones. I got my wife back. It took 3 different trips to rehab, a lot of AA meetings, and me doing the research on my own. This was before ChatGPT, but man, I've talked to ChatGPT a lot about it since. But
shout out to ChatGPT, right?
lots of books, lots of YouTube, lots of therapy, but don't give up. There's light at the end of the tunnel. This life we live is not easy, but you want to be prepared, to take the right steps in life so that you're more prepared for it.
Amen to that. Well, Jeremy, I just want to say thank you so much for making the time out of your busy schedule to come out here and to share your story, your vulnerability, your insight, and your wisdom. So I just want to say thank you for that.
Thank you, man.
And if somebody wants to get some Sullen gear, where are you guys located at? Is there a website?
Yeah, our headquarters is over in Seal Beach. The brand's called Sullen Clothing. We work with tattoo artists from all over the world. We take their art, we put it on apparel, we put their name on there. We've been around for over 20 years. We ship to over 55 countries. Wherever the tattoo community is strong, we probably have a presence there. But yeah, you can come down to headquarters and shop, or you can hop on the website, sullenclothing.com. My IG is Uncle Jeremy. And hop on there and if you want to get tattooed, I don't tattoo, but I work with tattooers from all over the world.
Right.
Hit me up. We'll dial you in with somebody whose style matches what you're looking for. And let's get inked up.
Perfect. Well, Jeremy, thank you again for being here.
Yeah.